When it comes to filmmaking, one of my favorite elements, and arguably one of the most important elements, is sound. Everything from the music, sound effects, and ambience all play a crucial role in telling the full story. And many of you watching are likely building your own sounds and music to accompany video all by yourself. I've been doing this for a while, so I like to think I'm pretty good at it, but for the sake of the argument, I'm going head to head with Tom. He's an actual composer from Vancouver, Washington, to recreate the score and sound effects of a 2020 Tokyo Olympics ad. Now let's play back both Tom's version and my version to see if you can guess which one is which. So the first version that we played, this one, is mine. And the second is Tom's. What did you think of ours?
I thought it was really good. Some of the things that I really liked about it were the music selection. I thought was really cool. And then I thought it was really cohesive, actually, how you were able to transition each piece to each different section. The sound effects were really good. And in fact, some of the sound effects I actually used on my piece as well.
Let's break down what it means to build the score and sound effects, and then talk about the process that both Tom and I took when creating our masterpieces. One important factor is to use quality sounds.
A lot of the sounds that I use are from high quality libraries. I use a lot of native instruments and Spitfire audio for like strings and stuff. The other part of that is being original with your sounds. So I think creating your own sampled sounds and creating like a sound palette is really essential, especially when you're starting out creating a score.
What is a sound palette? Imagine a painter's palette. It's a palette of unique colors, or in this case, sounds that you've mixed and prepared yourself to all create one cohesive and unifying palette to choose from for your piece of art. The question is, can you tell whether or not a score has been custom built for a film, or if it's been made from a bunch of pre-existing pieces?
Definitely, there is an element of cohesiveness when you're listening to a film that's been scored by a composer versus maybe using some pre-existing music. By using pre-existing music, you're kind of trying to fit in the puzzle pieces of that film, and with a composer, they're creating all of those transitions custom. Especially in the YouTube realm, I don't think that doing custom tracks is necessary, and so I think in that realm, that's kind of where pre-existing music is really important, because you can't always afford a composer, or it's not even really necessary to compose like a completely original soundtrack for a video.
My process starts essentially with just playing the original video over and over again, but on mute, because what I want to do is see what sounds I anticipate to hear and make note of all of those and what music or feeling I would anticipate for every scene of the video. Now, because this ad is broken up into multiple short scenes, I'm going to start by finding music that matches the energy and feeling of each scene. To find my music, I'm using Upbeat today. This is an amazing music licensing platform that's completely free. And by free, I mean actually free. I'll share a link in the video description so you can create a free Upbeat account, and then you can download 10 free tracks every month. Or if you do want the premium plan, that's only $6.99, and then you get unlimited everything. They have a vast library of music to choose from, and I've actually been using Upbeat for the last few months, and one thing I always pay attention to with different music licensing sites is how quickly I'm able to find what I'm looking for. And truthfully, for this particular project, it only took me about 20 minutes to find all the tracks I needed. Also, Upbeat is a new platform, and if you do decide to use this music for your YouTube channel, all of their music is copyright free, so you don't have to worry about copyright claims. For the intro shot on the streets of Tokyo, I wanted something that sounded oriental, as well as something with a strong drum beat so that it could establish the pace of the video. So I went on Upbeat and looked around at all the different categories they have, narrowed down my search by energy level, and instrumental tracks only. I finally settled on these two tracks: Polychrome for the oriental track, and Native Rebels for the drum beat track. Now, this next scene gave me straight up Sailor Moon vibes and definitely felt more upbeat and explosive. So after some digging, I came across Let's Get It. The arcade scene felt like a continuation of the dancing scene, so I tried to keep the same track playing. Now, the toy store scene felt like a great opportunity to reset the pacing of the video before we get faster again towards the end. So I tried to look for a low energy track that still made sense for the scene, and I landed on this song called Lower. When the camera passes through the toy dispenser, I added a low pass filter to the music track because if the music was playing in the store as a whole, this is how it would sound if you were inside the toy dispenser. That's what made sense in my mind. And I'm the director, so no one can challenge me. Now, I knew the final scene definitely needed a track that was like an athlete giving their all towards the finish line. You know, something high energy, something high pace, a drum track, maybe some horns. And this song, Let's Drum, was the perfect track. Next up, we're going to talk about ambience, and what ambience is what a room or world sounds like, just as it is. Although this is something that's often forgotten, it's one of the most crucial aspects of sound design because it gives the viewer context. For example, here's the first Tokyo scene with only the music and no ambience. And here's the same scene with ambience. Same thing here with the arcade scene without ambience. And now with ambience. The goal here is that the viewer can close their eyes and know exactly what setting they're in. The next thing I tackled is sound effects, and essentially what this is when an action is performed on screen, you add a sound effect for it. So a glass being put down, this mouse clicking, anything of that sort. So really quick, I'm gonna run through some of the sound effects that I used, because I don't want to bore you. The skateboarder, the man rustling the newspaper, him coughing, the dancers jumping, the dancers dropping things, the lightning bolts, puffs of smoke in the air, the video game sounds, the kids playing arcade games, the girl running, the girls laughing, the father and son cranking, the toy dispenser, the camera hitting the plastic bulbs, the light bulb in the man's bedroom, the TV playing sports, the bike wheels spinning, the neon lights turning on, and the Olympic sign illuminating. Easy stuff. So if you see it, just give it a sound. What is important to pay attention to with these sound effects, however, is where they are in relation to the camera or the person, the viewer. Are they close to the camera? Are they far away? Are they very quiet? Are they very loud? Are they moving close to the camera and then further away? So I'll give you an example. This skateboarder, the sound effect we added in of the skateboard gets louder as he gets closer to the camera, and then it gets softer and further away as he passes the camera. The last set of sounds I added are transitions, and what this does is help tie each scene together. For example, between the arcade and the toy store scenes, the girl walks in front of the camera, and if the camera had ears, it would sound something like this. Or from the toy store scene to the cycling scene at the end, the twirling motion would make a sound like this. Again, all these sounds do is help tell a story. Each transition sound helps indicate that we're moving on to something new. It adds an extra layer of texture and helps bring the viewer into the world of the film. Okay, so enough about my version. Let's bring it over to Tom.
So when I was starting this particular piece, I wanted to start with the intro sound effects actually, because I often find that if I kind of create an atmosphere within the video, that it kind of helps jog actual tonal ideas that I want to put down to paper. So what you'll hear is kind of like a lot of atmosphere. I then wanted to kind of tackle what was going to be the melodic idea here. So I thought, yeah, why not do like a cool house piece? That's where I came up with this bass line, which is kind of the main melodic element starting out. And this is with the sound effects and all the melodic ideas. Once I got into the TV scene, I decided I'm gonna really like flesh this out, create a full beat out of it. Now I decided I kind of wanted to make some sort of video game sound effects and add like different kind of MIDI sounds and stuff. So I'll solo the sound effects first, and then I'll show you the melodic sounds that I have. So here's just sound effects. And then here is the arcade solo. So something that you heard there is also why I think having a composer actually do a score for you is that you can kind of add all these melodic elements that are kind of playful to the actual piece that is happening. So for example, there's this like da-da-da-dun-dun thing going on, and that kind of adds to the overall arcade vibe. It just gives it that atmosphere. Okay, so a big transition happens here, and I decided that I wanted to bring it down a little bit and have it be a little bit more inspirational. Here is what I came up with for this section, just the melodic. And the sound effects. Let's play the sound effects really quick. So atmosphere and different plastic elements. Carrying on, everything is pretty much like this, how I kind of break down the atmosphere and then I add maybe a main melodic idea and then build on top of that with different textures. So the biggest element in that last bit of outro is this bass part that brings everything together, that kind of tells the audience that something is happening, we're cascading forward, and I believe it's this. It's a little bit menacing, electronic. That's really it.
So what have we learned about creating music and sound effects for film? Whether you decide to dive in headfirst in creating your own film score, or you work with a composer to have one custom built for you, there's definitely some pros and cons to both. For me, I was able to save a ton of money by utilizing a service like Upbeat for all my music tracks, which is the core of this ad, and thanks Upbeat for sponsoring this video as well. So if you're a creator and you're on a budget, then definitely choose this route. Yes, you do need to spend more time finessing the tracks to fit your film just right, but in the end, the result is still pretty awesome, if I do say myself. If you have a larger budget, want something that's built fully custom, and don't have the time or patience to do it yourself, then working with a composer might be a great option for you. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a like down below, subscribe if you're not already, and please hit the notification bell to get notified for all future videos, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye. Farewell. Stop recording!